Hi guys, and welcome to the Generational Wealth Education Podcast. Now, this podcast is created to be able to provide you guys with some of the most phenomenal stories, but also to highlight and showcase some of the most influential and high-profile individuals in particular. Now, at the end of the day, it is important for us to learn from these individuals. I mean, everyone has their own blueprint, and at the end of the day, we will notice that as you do interview all these various people, their blueprints tend to be very similar. Now, we are joined with some of the most successful people in various industries, and today it is definitely one of those people. Let's talk about the beauty industry. Let's talk about many other industries. We're talking about an established businesswoman and someone who has achieved multiple different accolades throughout her life, as well as being a TV personality. That is the incredible, beautiful Shashi Naidoo. Shashi, thanks for joining us today.
Wow, look at all those adjectives. Influential.
I think it's about right though, right?
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. Good to be here.
No, you're most welcome. I mean, that's not even half of the stuff that you've done. You've done a lot in your life. You've achieved so much at your age. I just want to touch on the whole concept of generational wealth. Before we get into your journey, I just want to speak about that concept because in South Africa, people look at the most searched word on Google. Out of the top 3 most searched words, one of them has to be the word generational wealth or the phrase
Really?
generational wealth.
I did not know that.
People want to learn how to save money, how to invest money. I mean, we're living in a country where, a lot of people are in debt, for example. People are not doing very well with their credit. I mean, we've done a video once where we spoke to a lady when it comes to credit scores, and that video got, hundreds of thousands of views on social media because there's a need for it. What's your definition of generational wealth?
Well, I think generational wealth would be being able to pass on to the next generation, right? So having something to give to your kids and they can pass it on to their kids. So I don't even think it just stops at money. I think it will be like giving your kids an amazing education, giving them the best education so that they then are able to improve themselves. And yes, we look at generational wealth and people who are able to get out of the cycle of poverty when you are able to give your children a home. So they're not starting with that cycle of debt already in a house, inheriting a home from your parents. You then start talking about generational wealth.
True. And I think the idea of, building up family businesses is something that isn't very common in South Africa. It's something that's only available to a select few. But I think if that can change in South Africa, it will definitely make a huge difference. But let's move away from that. Okay, cool. So we understand how generational wealth works. Let's touch on your journey in particular, right? Now, I mean, you grew up in Port Elizabeth, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right, the friendly city.
Now, the friendly city, but just touching on that, right? Looking at the fact that you are so influential, you're doing stuff all around the world, but you came from, I would say, a small city in that sense called PE and Port Elizabeth. How did it all happen? How did it all start?
For me, growing up in Port Elizabeth, I think was part of my story because it is a small city. You know everyone, but the influence I had came more from my parents than from external influences. Where I think in Johannesburg, there's a lot of external influences where the community that I was raised in, and especially my parents, were very influential. So I took a lot of their wisdom, so that helped me. I decided to study chiropractic. I was really passionate about that, so I moved to Johannesburg to do that in '97.
Wait, are you an actual chiropractor?
Yes.
So you can do the whole neck cracking thing?
I'm a good manipulator, not just in general. So yes, and that's what I decided to study. So when I was in university, I had a lot of part-time jobs because obviously to pay my way through university. One of them was as a florist. So I used to go around doing flowers for lots of different companies. And that's how I actually got discovered as a model because I was dropping off flowers to an advertising agency and one of the art buyers said, "Are you here for the casting?" And I said, "No, I'm just dropping off your flowers. What's a casting?" So obviously, me, I'm very curious. I went and did the casting and realized there's a lot of money to be made by being a model.
Wow, that's incredible. And just looking at that story, right? A lot of people don't probably know that you are a chiropractor, which is quite cool. But the whole concept of starting somewhere in South Africa is a very common theme because people, have to build themselves up. You're sometimes doing 4 or 5 different job opportunities or 5 different things to be able to get to your goal. And your goal was definitely to be in the space that you're in right now, I'm guessing, or even more than this. But to get there takes a process, right? So you did mention that you had to go through a few different businesses or start up doing different things. Why do you think it's so common in South Africa for that to actually happen? Why do you think we have to go through these processes?
I think just generally as an entrepreneur, you're never going to hit gold immediately, or you may, that's great. But I feel for me, you need to be driven by a vision of what your ultimate dream is. Where do you want, like, you know, this thing of writing down where you want to be, it's so important. And not just thinking, oh, one day I'd like to have this. You need to write it down, and then you need to write down how you're actually going to get there. So that when you're doing all these other things in the process of getting there, I remember I'd be able to visualize, I wanted to have this wellness center. The wellness center may not have come in a different shape, but I remember doing 25 Rand an hour promotions, and that saving of that money, I was like, this is going to be the tile to the entrance. And I'd visualize the tile, and I'd visualize, oh, this is going to be for the doorknob. So everything else becomes so easy because you're able to visualize the ultimate dream. And whether it comes in 3 years or 10 years, it becomes so easy and effortless because you know why you're doing it. You have purpose. Because I think that's the big thing that, you know, entrepreneurs are not doing here, is they're not saving. You need to save. And it doesn't matter if it's with 25 Rand an hour promotions like I did, or doing flowers where you're making a profit of 100 Rand, or you're hustling. I was doing matric dance after parties, and we started off doing in our first year 2, and in the final year of me doing it, where we did it for 5 years, I did 62 schools.
Wow.
And at some of these parties we had 4,000 kids. So, you know, you start small, obviously. I think people have this impatience to be there immediately.
Yeah.
But if you have focus and you know where you're going, you'll get there.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say you now started in the TV space, right? Now you're there. You started getting castings. You started doing adverts. You got onto maybe a TV show, for example. Let's run through that journey. So that journey also has its own pros and cons, right? I mean, the pro has to be you become more popular, you become more influential. What are some of the cons in that space?
I think for me, it was never my ultimate goal. I loved it, don't get me wrong. I really loved presenting. I got to travel the world with it. With modeling, I got to travel the world. I got paid a lot of money to do something that really is very basic. But for me, it wasn't my ultimate goal. So everything that happened within that space was just a bonus. Like, I don't think I've ever aspired to fame. Fame, I think, should be a byproduct of having a skill at something. If you just aspire to fame and you become famous, you realize, okay, well, it's actually a little bit empty. So I think, you know, for me, it's never been about that. So I enjoyed all my time. I really, really did. But anything I was doing within that space was to generate the money to do what I actually love, which is always in the entrepreneurship space.
Yeah, and in the beauty space in particular, right?
Not necessarily. I had a modeling agency that I owned for 17 years. I loved that. And now I'm in aesthetics. And who knows what I'll be doing in 5 more years. I think the beauty about what I do for a living is no 2 days are the same. I think I would go actually stark raving mad if every single day I had to do the same thing over and over again. There are new challenges. And I see them as exciting. You know, when you love what you do, when challenges come to you, you deal with them. It's not like, oh no, like the world's ended. And everything seems like a disaster. You kind of just take it on. It's part and parcel.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of young people right now that want to enter into the TV space. They want to actually get into adverts. You know, you've been there. You've achieved so much. You've been successful. What are some of the tips that you can give young people when it comes to those ones that want to get into that space? So
people that want to get into modeling or TV, I would say the most important thing is to have a reliable agent. So my acting agent, actually, I applied 3 times with them saying no ways. And eventually I just went there and I said, look, give me a chance. I can do this. Because obviously I didn't have experience, and without experience you can't get an agent.
Yeah.
But how do you get experience without an agent, and an
That's
agent
the
without
problem
experience?
in South Africa.
It's a catch-22. Actually everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it's easier for people who've actually studied acting, where they can go in and get that entry. But for those of you trying to go in blind, it is very hard. So eventually I was given that chance, and you don't want to go to an agent who's going to be like, yes, you can join, but it's 2,000 Rand. That doesn't exist. A reputable agent is never going to take your money. So don't be, you know, scammed into giving away your money for the illusion of fame.
Because it happens a lot. Hey?
It happens a lot. And this fame thing seems to be, people are thirsty for it. But yeah, it is actually just an illusion. So yes, find a reputable agent and work with them. And I think, like anything else in life, I think my success came from just working hard. You work with people, you arrive on time at set, you're a pleasure to work with. Trust me, they'll book you again.
Yeah.
And that's what made me stand out. I'm not the tallest model, I'm not the prettiest, I'm not the skinniest, but what I was very reliable.
Yeah.
If they hired me to do something, I'd be there on time, do what I needed to do with a smile on my face.
You know, they always have this conversation on Twitter where they speak about opening up the industry, right? They're saying that you always see the same faces doing most of the work. What's your opinion on that? What do you think?
Well, I think there's a reason for that. You know, people who work hard, and when you get it, I think anyone's welcome to audition to get an acting agent. Those people who take the risk or who are brave enough to approach an agent. You know, I had a modeling agency and we had 100 applications a day. And unfortunately, it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, while the success of Illushi was based on me seeing a gap in the industry. Everyone was a size 0 model. Everyone was 173 or over. So we had these huge glamazonias who were anorexic, basically. If you look at them now, you would say were really, really skinny. And I was like, that's not actually what normal people look like. So why not have an agency that's inclusive? So this now was 18 years ago, where this diversity, showing diversity in the industry, which was an unheard of concept then, but that is what Illushi offered into the industry, and that's why it did so well. So even as inclusive as we were, there were people that just are not cut out to be. You know, you also have to be really realistic within yourself. Can I play the lead in a series? Am I the romantic lead? Do you have the stamina to keep up with it? All these things, if you have a day job, are you going to be able to attend all your castings? Because people who are not willing to sacrifice their day job and then cannot attend castings, it's not your agent's fault if you're unable to put yourself forward. And
those are always the ones who tend to complain a lot about not getting enough gigs.
Exactly. So that's what I dealt with constantly. Why am I not getting work? Well, I've sent you to 5 castings. You haven't attended any of them.
Yeah.
So, and as an agent, I then stopped sending castings because I want to send it to a model or someone even for presenting jobs that I know that's reliable and going to arrive.
Yeah. Look, so I mean, Illushi's done really, really well, right? I mean, you said 17 years in that space. So what made Illushi so special?
Like I said, we were unique in the industry at the time. 18 years ago, there was zero diversification. There was, everyone looked the same, cookie cutter. So we allowed girls who weren't 173, who were a bit shorter or maybe had a nice bottom, a nice round bottom. The shapes were absolutely sticks. It was crazy back then. So we kind of introduced that to the industry and presented that to clients who loved it. So, clients were only seeing models who look like actual models that walk Paris runway.
Yeah.
But if you are doing an ad for Coca-Cola or Samsung or any of those brands, they don't need a typical model-looking person. More than often than not, they want someone who looks a bit like me or you or anybody else,
So with the modeling agency, is it still running? Is it something
No, so when I made the decision to move to Dubai,
Okay.
I sold to another agency who now operates
that's
under
good.
Bridge Management.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's always nice to get an exit strategy, hey? There's a lot of money involved.
Absolutely, and I think for me, 17 years was enough. I got a lot of excitement from it when we started. But as other agencies started embracing the same concept, you need to know when it's your time, right? So we had 17 glorious years, but for me, it was time.
Okay, that's awesome. No, that's great. So did you sell the whole database to them as well as the business as well? Okay, that's incredible. So let's move away from Illushi. I want to know about other business interests you have, right? Because, I mean, people do see it on social media. They'll see Illushi, they'll see some of your other businesses. Let's talk about this new business that you've just started recently, right? Which is the teeth whitening space and the aesthetic space. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So 7 years ago, I decided to open Illushi Aesthetics. I took the same name as Illushi Models.
Yeah.
I felt that I'd spent a really long time building a brand that was known, that was linked to me, and I think synonymous with good service in my mind.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to lose the name, so I decided to call it Illushi Aesthetics, which worked well. And we've been doing great within that space. And now I decided to kind of expand on that. It's still within aesthetics and looking beautiful, teeth whitening. And it's again something, whilst it exists, teeth whitening has existed for a very long time, but the model in which it's done is extremely expensive. So if you go to your dentist, you're going to spend 7,000 Rand. So with our model, we've met, because we do them in pods, so you still have your cleaning before the whitening in the dental chair, but then we put you into a little pod where you're just sitting like that, very comfortable. But because we've got multiple pods, we're able to do it at a much more reduced rate.
Yeah.
Because what you're essentially paying for when you do your whitening is the dentist's time.
Yeah.
You're not paying for the actual whitening.
True.
So that 90 minutes of a dentist time, that's what you're paying for. So with the model that we're using, we're able to do far more people at a far more reasonable rate, and people are loving it. I'm like, honestly, I'm beaming. I'm so happy. We have been fully booked since the day we opened.
That's amazing. Well done.
I hope it continues to go on like that. But
I'm sure it will, because people really want nice teeth.
And there's nothing like that in Joburg.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, the one thing that I can offer, advice I could offer to an entrepreneur. Don't copy what someone else is doing. There's already someone else doing it, and you're probably just going to, when you make a copy of a copy of a copy, it never turns out as great as the original.
Yeah.
Rather do something unique in a space that is unique to you, no one else is offering that, and that people want. And if it means asking your friends, people that will give you honest feedback, do you think if I started this business, people would come? It's no point in doing something like you think it'll be great, but do a little survey on people around you, people in the community. Ask, is this something you would pay for, this service? And get honest feedback before you go investing your time and money into it.
Yeah, I mean, market research is something that we don't do in South Africa.
People neglect it because everyone thinks like me.
Yeah.
I would pay this, I would pay 1,000 Rand to have my sneakers cleaned.
True.
Not necessarily everyone would do that. So you need to do market research.
Yeah.
It's essential.
That's definitely one of the reasons why a lot of your SMMEs fail in South Africa. But just touching on aesthetics in general, right? I know that we're going to speak about you moving to Dubai as well.
Yes.
But if you look at South Africa and you look at the aesthetic space, people are not very open to it here in South Africa as what they are in the Middle East and Lebanon, UAE. Why?
People are, I think surprisingly, South Africans are very reserved. If you travel, we're actually quite conservative. You might not believe that, but we're very conservative people.
Really?
We don't, if someone gets Botox, we don't like talking about it.
Yeah.
So trust me, most of the women I know are getting Botox, but it's not something they'll talk about or post about. And people were kind of shocked when I would openly post about me getting Botox or filler.
Because it's normal, right? In the UAE.
I see it as normal,
Yeah.
but people in South Africa are very conservative about that. That's the first thing. But the space is growing at a very rapid rate. I think men are just not aware of it because women don't talk about it often as to what they're actually doing. But secondly, you need to look at disposable income. How much disposable income do people actually have? If you're looking at 4,000 Rand to get Botox and it's something that you need to do every 3 months, how many people actually have the disposable income to afford that? So there definitely are those people, but if you're spending that much, you're going to want the best. So you need to make sure that you are the best. There's so many places popping up overnight, but people are spending good money and they want to get someone who's actually good at what they do.
Yeah. And what about male aesthetics? We're seeing females, spending money on these things, but do men do that as well? Men
definitely do aesthetics, whether they like to admit it or not. Again, I think something like teeth whitening is very much more unisex. Everyone wants a good smile.
But what about like Botox and stuff like that? You see guys doing it as well?
You definitely do see men doing it, but I think not. And I don't think men should actually do it to the point as much as women. They don't need as much because men actually look better as they age. I think they look more rugged and handsome, but that frozen face is not a sexy look on a guy, in my opinion, and I think guys think the same. So I think it's not as big for sure, but I would say about 10% of your clientele are men. And at the salon, when you're looking at facials, we'd say about 20%. And also, there's a lot more salons catering specifically to men.
True.
The aesthetic clinics, and especially like I've seen in Dubai but I guess that's because there are a lot of places that women can only go because, they can take off their, their outfits.
True.
And so their hair.
Okay, I want to touch on the whole idea of moving over to Dubai, right?
Yes.
Because, you look at South African people today, look at the stats, most people are looking at relocating. They all want to move over to the UK, US, but the UAE is definitely one of the top 3 places where people want to move.
Oh, absolutely.
Why?
So the most commonly asked question on my Instagram is how do I relocate to Dubai? So literally every day
That's
I was
crazy.
asking people,
Yeah.
like, how can I leave? So I'm definitely not one of those people that has left and like, oh, I hate South Africa. Because you do find people like saying terrible things all the time. Oh, I'd never go back to South Africa. I hate South Africa. I honestly love South Africa. Despite our load shedding and our water, now we don't have
It's
water
bad right
today.
now. Hey, it's really bad. It's like 9.5 hours.
Yeah, the issue that I had a problem with was the crime and the corruption, which kind of then trickles down into everything else that we experience. And I'd had an incident, and I just decided, you know what? I don't actually know where it's going to go, and the uncertainty of not knowing where the situation was going to get to or what was going to happen is what made me decide to move. Because I don't know if I do one day decide to have kids, I don't know if it's going to be worse. So right now I'm not committed. I'm lucky enough to not have a 9-to-5 job where I've got to report to anyone. If I'm ever going to do it, now is the time. Or at least, otherwise it'll just be an amazing adventure for a couple of years. Listen, I lived in India for...
Really?
Yes, I lived in India for 7 months. I've lived in Australia for a year. So I'm one of those people, I'll just pack up and go.
Yeah. Which state in India did you stay in?
I lived in Mumbai.
Okay.
I was
really
modeling
nice.
there for a year. But speaking about why people want to move to Dubai, obviously you're not paying tax, which is amazing.
That's true.
It is like when I say ridiculously safe, you can't even understand it until you live there. So I'd have friends, so when you go to like KFC or you're on the beach and they want to hold a table on the beach because they're going to pick up their takeout. So they'll leave their handbag and their purse and their cell phone to keep the table and then go for a walk just for like an hour and then come back and everything is still there. It is like
very safe.
Weirdly safe.
Yeah.
Weirdly safe. Like I don't know how they keep it like that, but it's beyond safe. People, I think, are just too scared of doing anything wrong. And everything just works, I guess. You know, when I went to get my driver's license, it took me 20 minutes and I walked out with my driver's license.
Yeah, it's very efficient. That's true.
So super efficient, and it's everything sparkly and new. So it is nice. I think that's why people want to go. But I think the main thing from everyone that I've spoken to who's actually moved there for good, it's safety. Whether they be from South Africa, Mexico, Lebanon, wherever, it's safety.
Yeah. I mean, I had someone on the live show the other day. It was a neurotherapist, and she said that, you know, your brain in South Africa looks a lot different to people, for example, in the Middle East. We're so used to looking, you know, behind us all the time to make sure we're safe. I'm sure that experience
Can I actually say this? So when I moved to Dubai, I was on a mild course of anti-anxiety medication.
That's insane.
And after moving to, and I needed it, otherwise I could never sleep.
Yeah.
And all of it, after 2 weeks of being in Dubai and then for the rest of my time there, I started feeling very like groggy, and I'm like, I wonder what's going on. I just went off the medication. I didn't need it anymore. There was no anxiety. And like, I think the anxiety of when you're at home and you hear a noise, that I could do without, to be honest.
Do you feel like you're more different now that you're in South Africa right now? Like, do you feel more calm,
So now
more relaxed?
I'm not in my... So before I lived in a standalone big house with a yard and the pool and the whole thing. And I think I feel a lot safer now because I've got to lock up and go. I rent the big house out.
Okay.
So I do feel safer in that kind of apartment living.
Yeah.
Which I should have done a long time ago, to be honest.
No, that's true. So, I mean, I'm looking at a lot of the questions. You know, we did put it up beforehand to say that you're coming on the podcast, what questions do people have? And a lot of them are some of the stuff we're asking you right now. But one thing that you did mention was the idea of starting a family, right? Is that something that interests you? Do you want to
Absolutely.
start a family?
Think for me, one of my big things, and the reason I've always worked so hard, this, you know, up at 4 a.m., working like a demon, I always thought it would be so that I'd have a family one day. But I think I got so wrapped up in the business and everything else that you kind of forget about the other thing. And the one great thing is in Dubai is I'm actually dating.
Okay, that's
yes,
awesome.
which I didn't do it in Joburg. I was always so busy with work and everything else. But my schedule's a lot more relaxed in Dubai, so I get to like actually go out for dinners and
Wait,
have fun.
to define, are you saying you're dating as in you're still trying to
No,
find
I'm
the
dating
one?
the field, but
Oh, okay,
I'm
okay.
having
Just
such
trying to-
fun.
just trying
I'm
to
not ready
clarify
to lock
that.
myself down yet.
Yeah.
I'm having a great time.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So you're meeting a lot of people.
Yes, and it's not even. It doesn't have to even be romantic. It's like going out for dinners, enjoying life, which I like. I didn't do a lot of here.
Yeah.
So I'm really enjoying that part.
And kids, how many kids do you want?
Whatever God will give me. Is
I
good.
like that answer.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. But you don't have a number in your head, like you're thinking of a certain number?
No. I mean, I'm old now,
Some
so
people do that,
I have to
though.
like get going soon. And also, like, kids are kids, right? Even if I adopted somebody else's kids, if I met someone with kids, for me, I don't feel like I have to give birth to kids for them to
Yeah.
consider them my own. Like, and also, I feel like I've done a lot of maternal things in my life. Like when you have, like, I've had staff and staff become family. I feel like I have been a mother in many ways.
I think you'll be a good mom. Do you
yeah.
think you'll be a good mom?
Yes. I know I'll be strict, which sounds crazy because, you know, you wouldn't expect it from me. But I think I'll definitely be strict.
Yeah.
But fair.
That's good. I think you'll be a great mom. I really do see it.
Thank you, Zero.
So Dubai, right? Dubai is
Yes.
there. It's beautiful. It's amazing. We have the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa.
Everything is the biggest or the longest
Or the
or the
tallest.
fastest.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, so they just launched the flying car.
That's
The
true.
first flying car came out, and it was, you know, they have this whole museum of the future.
Yeah.
So they used to have the flying car in this museum, but they've taken it out now because it's not the future. It's now. It's already there. So they don't even have the flying car in there anymore.
Are you going to get one?
Nah, I'm happy with my feet on the ground. My feet, my wheels, I'm happy on the ground.
Yeah. So you've been in Dubai for a while. You've
Mm-hmm.
seen how the environment is. Business opportunity-wise for a lot of young South Africans that maybe perhaps want to relocate to Dubai and dominate
Mm-hmm.
there or just open up a business there. What do you think?
It's a tricky one. I think it's great in terms of work experience. So maybe for people not from my own experience, if you're going to get a job, people are being paid like 5-6 times more what they're getting in South Africa and also not paying tax on it.
Yeah.
So it's a great, if you can get a job with, and I mean, I'm not encouraging people to leave the country, please don't get me wrong, but I think it's the most wonderful thing in the world to go and spend 2 years overseas and then come back. Like, you know,
You learn
earn
a
some
lot,
money,
right?
come buy a house
Yeah,
here,
true.
and it's tax-free. So I think it's an amazing opportunity. So if you can find something in your field, yes, go ahead. I think you need to be very cautious when you're looking at going into opening up a business there. The rules are very different. I know people that have opened up franchises, that, you know, the Steers franchise and like a chicken franchise that's gone there. And they operate on a very different level, and there were a lot of hiccups that they didn't have here that they had there. So it's a tricky space to go into when you're looking at venturing on your own. But it is opening up. Remember, previously you needed a 50% local partner.
Yeah.
Those rules have softened. You can buy property there now without the 99-year lease. So they really want foreigners there now. But like, it's not something I'd rush into, like, get there, start immediately. Get to know where things are, what they need, you know. Like, that's the thing with, like I was saying, successful entrepreneurs see a niche and then go after that, or see an opportunity and go after that. If you don't understand a market well enough, like, this works really well here, it doesn't mean it'll work well in Dubai.
That's true, yeah. What you also see is you see a lot of these young kids, you know, like maybe just finishing up matric. They spend 2 or 3 years on these yachts, these really expensive yachts, and they earn good money, come back, start buying property. So it's true what you're saying. It's quite a good opportunity for them at a young age.
Absolutely.
But just looking at Dubai in particular, right? Just trying to understand in terms of the South African community there, because I feel like there is quite a big South African
so
community.
all my it's embarrassing. All my friends are South African there. So people that I
Seriously?
knew, but then you become like this very tight-knit community because you feel like you're going through the same things.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the vastness of Dubai can be a little scary, and when you don't know anyone. So we definitely band together.
Okay.
And it's very easy to make friends in Dubai, that I can say. Even if you're like a shy person, because 85% of the population are expats. So
That's
it's
true.
and the locals mostly hang out with their own people. So whenever you're out, the only people you meet are people doing exactly what you're doing, braving, coming to a new country, making new friends. So everyone wants to make friends. Everyone is so friendly and welcoming. And you meet them once and they'll call you like, hey, do you want to meet again? Like, so it's different to here where we're all in our cliques already. It's a great place if you are looking at going abroad for a few years.
What's the coolest thing that you've done in Dubai? I mean, there's so many things, right?
Skydiving. I went skydiving over the palm.
That's beautiful.
And that was sensational. I went falcon hunting in the desert. So I actually slept in the desert for 2 nights. And the falcon goes and catches and brings it back. They cut it open in front of you, feed the falcon the heart, and then you cook the food right there in the desert, and you sleep around a fire. That was like incredible. what else? Dubai's just, it's a lot of fun, right? I'm there. And also the influencer thing is huge there. So if you are someone with a lot of followers, it goes a long way in Dubai. Like, I don't think I've ever paid for a meal there.
Seriously?
Yes.
That's insane. But there's so many restaurants, right?
So many restaurants. They even have apps like A-List or Secret Society where you can join, give them your numbers, and then they'll tell you, oh, these restaurants, so you can go, you can eat for free, even get takeout sent to your home for free. As long as you
So how does it work? So then you have to go to the restaurant and then post about it?
Yeah. So you'll have to do like a minimum of 4 or 5 posts.
But you never pay for a meal in Dubai.
That's
cool.
a nice. So they're very organized there, so they can look at your numbers and put it to use.
That's incredible. So they have this hotel called the Burj Al Arab, right? Which is obviously like the only 7-star hotel in the world.
With the mirror above the bed.
That's how it's known for. Like, it's known for that, right?
Yes.
Do you like that hotel?
Yes, but there is actually now a more expensive hotel.
Really?
Called the Atlantis Royale.
Oh, yeah, that's
it's
true.
the new edition. Beyonce stayed there. And I've been into one of the rooms, and that cost $45,000 a night.
That's crazy.
That is like, who
let's
has
convert
money like this? Like, who has money like this? I would love to know.
So that's like what, almost $1 million a night to stay there.
Yeah.
That's
insane. I'm changed.
Yeah, that's true, right? Dubai money is different money.
It really is. Like, it's not meant for us, right? These things weren't made. Like, I did like the tour thing where they like showed us around, like as an influencer, and I got a few quick videos. But these are not meant for us.
Yeah. That's a high level.
Right.
You're spending
you're
$1 million.
rolling. You've got oil money.
Yeah. I mean, you spend money at like the Saxon, whatever. People are like, wow, I'm spending like 10K a night.
Yes. $45,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Okay. So Dubai has a lot of opportunities for young people, but you're saying don't necessarily travel if you don't want to. Stay in South Africa, build South Africa.
It's a great place, yes. And I'm saying, like, go make money, bring it back to South Africa. That's what we need.
That's a good thing to do,
You know, we don't need this drain. And I think, so now I've come back because I've just launched the Smile Bar. And I think the first 6 weeks, especially in a business, 6 weeks to 3 months, it's make or break of a business. So I came back for 6 weeks. So it's going to end up being 2 months, where you just buy like your staff watching as you do, because it's different. It's like, do this. Rather show them what you want done by actually doing it, like how you talk to clients, how you engage, how you book things. So that's why I'm spending time here. And the more time I spend, I'm like, oh, I miss South Africa. It's so nice. Everyone's so friendly, genuine.
True.
It's a different energy, and it is beautiful. Like, I know when I came back a few times when all the load shedding started, I kind of got this feeling that everyone was so despondent. It was actually very depressing when I came back, because I used to come back a lot for work. But I think everyone, you know, us, we make a plan, we get used to it.
Find a joke out of everything.
Yes, I feel like I think things are going to be okay. I really do.
I think so. But right now we are going through about 10 hours of load shedding as we speak. Yeah.
Crisis.
But hopefully it does get better. Are you going to come back next year to vote?
I think I will.
Okay.
I've always been...
You can vote in Dubai though, right? You can vote from the embassy.
Yes, yeah. I've always been very, very funny about this voting thing. I think people like died and persevered to give us this right to vote. Yeah. So I will never miss a vote.
I like that. I think it's such an important lesson, because a lot of young people in South Africa are not voting.
Yeah,
so if you look at, there's about, I think it's 4 million or 5 million young people that could actually register to vote that's not voting.
And I'm not one to say that my party is better than your party or who you should vote for, but vote. People really, for us to have that freedom to vote is a big thing.
No, I won't ask you your party, don't worry.
No, but I'm saying like, because a lot of people are like, if these 4 million people voted, then we could change, you know, who's in control.
No,
but
they can vote for whoever they want.
Vote for whoever you want, but vote. Yeah.
Do you think they must open up a new party in South Africa where it's for young people, speaking about young people's issues?
I think, I don't know what the answer is, to be honest, because it's not young people issues. An old person's issues, the same as my issues. Like, we have no water, we've got no electricity. We're both feeling it the same, and I think corruption affects everyone, whether you're young or whether you're old. I think just knowledge is power. I think just in educating people as to what's actually going on and how their voice can be heard and how we can each make a difference, because you can, you can actually speak to your elected officials, but I don't think people know how powerful their individual voices are. And that comes with education.
Yeah,
Right?
I like that. I really like that. I think it's such an important thing to let people know because their voices are important. I completely agree with you. Okay, so I want to touch on something that's really important, right?
Really important.
It's really important because
has everything else not been important?
No, all of this has been important, but in terms of the number of questions or number of comments we got on this in particular, I think it's very important. People want to know this. They want to know about your DMs.
Very important.
It's of paramount importance that we speak about this.
You know, we actually had a group a while ago, and it was called DM of the Day. So like,
on WhatsApp?
On WhatsApp, like a WhatsApp girlfriend group where someone would send in like their horrific... I wish I still had it, but I've lost this group because I changed phones. But it is hilarious. Men are disgusting.
Seriously,
your species, your entire species.
I think you must limit it to certain
weird.
guys. You get some guys that are weird.
Okay, so certain things. For example, like this, some men think that being relentless is like okay, so they'll send you like things, like bombard you every single day. With
I've heard of that.
With like Bollywood things, and I'm like, dude, like, why do you think I have time to go every single like songs, like I love you songs,
like them performing it themselves?
No, like actual like these videos with the lyrics, and I'm like, you need to get a life.
But don't you like Bollywood?
I mean, it's weird. Like, okay, I like Titanic. Am I going to send you the Titanic song to DM if I've never met you?
I'll just play devil's
advocate. And proclaim your like undying love for you. It's bizarre and it's weird, and women do not like subs. So
facts.
Yes.
I feel like this is a good masterclass for women to know what they want and for guys to learn. What do you think?
Yes, that and. I used to get a lot of inappropriate, unsolicited dick pics. A lot.
Really?
And then what I did is start posting them with their name, with their face.
On Instagram?
On Instagram. So I just like squiggle
but
out.
then you'll get banned.
No, it stopped. It's absolutely stopped. No one sends me that. I used to get a lot, and now people know. If you've been following me, you would know that I do that. I'm not going to keep quiet. I don't want to see it. Nobody else wants to see it. And these are like married men sending this. And this is the guys that are like, oh, my account got hacked. Oh, really? Someone hacked your account and
send you
to send me a picture of your penis. Wow.
But it's common to see. I think it happens. I think there's a lot of married men out there.
I just out them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've got no patience for that. And then a lot of feet fetish DMs. Please send me pictures of your feet. Asking for pictures of my feet.
But do you have nice feet?
But I mean, it's weird.
No, but like I think guys just want to know, like, do you have nice feet? Don't you have nice feet?
Okay, you should never ask. So have you asked someone?
No, I wouldn't. I'm not into feet. I'm trying to understand them. I'm trying to understand why would they do it.
No, but I also just feel like there needs to. And maybe I'm not understanding it because I would never go to a stranger and like ask for pictures of anything. It's weird that people who don't know you like feel so comfortable asking you for.
What if you like six packs, for example, and you see someone that you?
No one's ever asked me for a picture of my abs.
No, but as a woman, let's say you like six packs.
I would never ask a guy I don't know.
I'm sure you'd be like, pick up your shirt, let me see your abs.
Do you understand? Are you listening to what you're saying? Do you understand how perverted that would be? A guy that I do not know messaging him, like asking him to see his body. That's kind of gross, don't you think?
I think it's common these days. I see it happening.
It's common. I think it's gross. Maybe I'm just old. Oh my God.
You're not
I never thought of that.
You're not old at all, actually. You're still young.
I feel like there needs to be some level of communication first where we have I've not responded to your DMs for a month, but you like just having these long conversations with yourself. Like,
so guys do that. Apparently they have conversations with themselves on girls'
completely.
DMs. So they'll actually answer their own questions.
Yes.
Does it happen?
They'll carry on talking and talking and talk. Yes, for like months. And so I've archived them. You'll go back and like sometimes out of interest, like 900 messages that have been,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's hectic.
That's so many creepy. I mean, I don't know. Have you ever had some creepy women in your DMs? I think it's to your species.
It's more limited when it comes to females doing it than males, because males are known to be more of the outgoing
aggressor.
Yeah.
I think men are taught to be the aggressor in life, and if you go for what you want, you will get it. But I wish they had the same enthusiasm for entrepreneurship or other things. I mean, I just think of the time, and I'm not under the illusion that I'm the only person getting these messages.
Yeah, no, I think it's
they'll send it to like 30 girls. Imagine if they put that same amount of energy into like
probably run a very successful business.
Very,
Yeah.
very.
But has it ever worked before, where a guy has been persistent and eventually
No,
you went on a
never.
date
It
with
really,
him?
like, no.
So it's a 0% success rate.
0. And you actually, and to be, this is 100% the truth, it can put me off, like, even if I like a person and they become too much, I will immediately cut. Like, I can't.
Really?
No, yeah. Like, it's not behavior that I want.
But you like the guy.
Yes, but like someone telling me I love you after like meeting me once, and
What if they're just very passionate people?
no, but then you're not for me. I find that like, because then they're in love with the illusion of love. They're certainly not in love with me because they don't know me well enough.
Yeah.
So then they just love, and then you can just find anyone else for that. It's not. It has nothing to do with me.
So you want something real.
Yes, and all these love bombs are dangerous things because they get replaced with other things when that fire and passion is not there.
You don't think that we overplay this whole concept of gaslighting and this person is like a narcissist? Don't you think we're overplaying it sometimes, where every single thing makes the person a narcissist?
Well, nothing that I've said makes these people narcissists.
Yeah.
Narcissistic. I think it makes them. I mean, we all want to be loved, right? And maybe they just have the wrong approach in getting it. But in terms of gaslighting and narcissism, I think it's a real condition. I know a couple of people. So yeah, yeah.
You can think of some of them right now.
Actually, I can think of 1 or 2 people. I think it is a genuine thing. You know, often we just didn't know how to label these things. You know, I was watching a documentary the other day. We didn't even know the word for pedophile in the 80s. There was no word for it.
But I mean, now you see it on cartoons and everything.
Yes, it didn't mean it didn't exist. It
Yeah.
was there. But like, and so narcissism and understanding of the narcissistic personality, we didn't know what that really
That's
was.
true.
Yeah. So I think people are becoming more clued up with their emotions and even anxiety. It's not really like a word you heard often. Now, like, oh, I feel anxious. People are just maybe more in tune with their emotions, what other people are, how to understand and interpret behavior.
I feel like you know a few people. Okay, I want to ask you about this married men syndrome. You know what that is, right?
I'm assuming it's when married men can't...
Contact.
Yes, and I get that a lot.
Is it a high ratio?
Yes, and like literally they will have their kids and the wife in this profile picture, just like no scam.
Are you not scared though when you end up with someone and you dating them or getting married to someone and they're going to end up doing the same thing to
This
you?
is my honest to God belief behind this. When you date someone, you know your person. Like I haven't had a lot. So when I've dated seriously, it's like 4.5 years. So I've had maybe 4 of these long-term relationships.
Yeah.
And you know your person. I know the one that's going to cheat. You know. You just know.
How? How do you know?
Because you know and you see it in
You
their
can't
behavior.
say you just know.
Oh,
How do you
absolutely.
know?
And they're the ones that you know would never, ever do it.
Do you
And
ever test your partners? Do you ever put them in testing positions?
No, but
Like
you
tell a
just
friend,
know.
flirt with them and see
Honestly,
how
if you like sitting at home feeling anxious, knowing, so like, and okay, maybe this is terrible advice to give because I'm not a jealous person, but the ones when you have that feeling and you always tend out to be the ones, you know, like I trust my gut. So, but
were you
know,
always right?
Yes,
Seriously?
every time. And maybe I'm deluded into thinking the other ones would never, but I don't think so.
You don't think every man cheats?
No, I absolutely don't.
So you believe in love?
Yes, I absolutely do.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, away from love. Let's move away from love now. Let's just chat about.
yes.
So there's
Puppies and
yeah, more business related stuff. I think looking at young people, a lot of them look up to you. A lot of women look up to you. A lot of them, and now
like, do they look up?
I think they do. I think a lot of women are inspired by you. They're inspired by your mindset, inspired by your... You can even use hustle in a positive way. The way that you carry yourself, you know. I think it's important that people learn those skills from you. They learn that from you.
So, you know, like I posted this video and it's out and I was having drinks and, you know, sometimes with my girlfriends we get a bit crazy and my mom was like, my darling, you're a role model. You can't post things like this. And I said, Mom, what made me a role model? I'm me and I'm doing my own thing. So I don't know if it's an intentional thing, but my mom said, but you are in the public eye, whether you like it or not. You need to watch yourself. So
how does that make you feel, being a role model? Because you are, right? It's a responsibility that you didn't
Yes,
ask for.
it's a responsibility I didn't ask for. I don't mind that. I hope I can be a role model, and I hope I can inspire someone to follow their passions. I want to be a role model for the right things, right? Not because I drive a nice car or have a nice... I don't think those things are
Important.
aspirational. I think the fact that I wake up every morning and I'm really happy at doing what I love, that's a great thing. I would be inspired by that.
What's the end goal for Shashi Naidoo?
I don't know. I'm going with it. I have no idea.
Are you not someone who plans like 10 years ahead?
I do. I have my own little notes and journaling of what I do. But right now, I don't know when the end is. So I can't tell you what the end. We don't know when it will end up.
But would you say like probably like family?
Oh, 100%.
Like that.
That'll be part. I don't think there shouldn't really be a choice between family and being an entrepreneur or someone in business. I don't think that side of me is ever going to die. You know, even if I did get married to someone really rich, I don't see me sitting at home and doing nothing. I don't think that's in my nature.
Yeah.
So I'd always want to work. I'd always want to be busy.
Yeah. You said if you marry someone rich, is money like an important factor when it comes to choosing a partner?
No, not for me, because I have my own.
Yeah.
So.
Ooh, that's nice. That's a good answer.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think stability is really important to anyone. And I don't think it's about, more importantly for me, it's not about having money to have nice things, just the not having stress about how am I going to pay the bond this month? How am I going to pay school fees this month? How am I going to pay those? That is huge stress. And it's like something I think most people face. Like 90% of people have to stress about, are they going to make their credit card payments on time? That kind of stress is like unnecessary, and I don't want that. So I don't need to go on a yacht. I don't need to go first class. I don't need those things. But I do need freedom from stressing at the end of every month.
Okay, I like that. I think, you know, when you're looking at what a lot of people believe in, they believe that guys only care about looks when it comes to girls, and girls mostly care about money when it comes to guys. But I think it is, in a way, accurate, right? It's just like how people are brought up. It's in your own being, I guess.
So I feel I would like someone who is successful and driven and ambitious, because you look for things... I mean, we're going into a genetics thing here, and
it's important.
You know, Darwinism is why you're attracted to people. I want to see the attributes in you that I want to see in my children. I don't want someone who's going to sleep on the couch and be lazy and all day. And generally, these ambitious, successful, driven people also have money. So
it just happens.
The two kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say necessarily it's about money, but power. It's about these attributes that you want to see in your children. Who wants to be with someone who's lazy and can't get it together, or see that in their children? I don't think it's a very sexy trait.
Yeah. So you're saying ambition is probably the most attractive attribute
drive,
for you.
Yes, and also, like if you're with someone who's genuinely trying and intelligent and has all their things together and going somewhere, that's awesome. Those men always have. And they'll find the right type of girl, right, who wants to do those things too.
Yeah, finding love is quite a difficult thing in today's time, definitely.
Yes. Even though it should be a lot easier with all the...
You think so? With social media, it becomes tough because everyone has more than one option, right?
Yes, exactly. So they say a man is only as faithful as his options, and now these options are limitless, literally.
Facts.
Yeah. But you would think because we have more access. Previously, you had to make physical contact with someone. Now it's just at your fingertips, touch of your hand. But it seems to be making things worse.
I miss the traditional times when things were a lot different back then.
Do you?
So we have an unemployment rate of 32.5% in South Africa. If you're looking at the youth unemployment rate, it's about 65 or 70%. So we have 7 out of every 10 young people in South Africa is currently sitting at home unemployed. That's horrible. That is really bad. What advice do you have for our young people today?
I think a lot of people, and listen, this doesn't apply to everyone. Everyone's situation is completely different. But for me, I think people would rather, so if, let's say, for example, if you think your worth is 100,000 rand a year, but you are only being offered something that's 50,000 rand a home. I know so many people that will sit at home rather than take that 50,000 rand a year job.
Seriously, that's
yes,
crazy.
and that is absolutely and unfortunately the mentality with a lot of kids or a lot of the youth that that I deserve this, so that's what I'll get, and I'll hold on to that. So I think, like, take what you can get experience, and then work your way up, because we are in a very, very difficult time right now. Like everyone is struggling. There's so many retrenchments and the rest. And also, I think we've always known that entrepreneurship is super important, especially within youth. Like, start your own business, start selling something from home. It might take a little bit of capital, but start small, grow. But there's absolutely no need to sit at home and do nothing. You can find something to do.
There's a lot of girls that messaged actually wanting to know if you're open to like mentoring them. Is it something that you do?
I think I've also been approached about that a lot. I think the relationship between a mentor and a mentee is something very personal, and it's more about job shadowing. Because I can't, me telling you, and even as I'm sitting here talking, I feel kind of stupid for some of the things I'm saying, because it's not. This is kind of advice that it's either innate or you learn it from literally working hand in hand with someone. And I often find, like, people who've worked with me as my personal assistants and stuff have gone on to do their own thing and have picked up on that entrepreneurial thing because it's something that rubs off and you're able to show with actual doing more than saying do this, do that, because it's very easy for me to sit here and say, oh yeah, go get a job, or yeah, go start a business. That's when actually these are tough times, right? So I feel like a proper relationship between mentor and mentee needs to be spending lots of time together and learning from example and seeing how I would do it, and I don't know if I've necessarily got the time to devote to someone who's not working in my field or with me.
That's one of the biggest challenges I think a lot of your business leaders suffer with, is the time aspect of it. But so who was your mentors when you were growing up? Did you have mentors?
My mentor is still my mother. Like,
that's
my
nice.
mom
That's
is
beautiful.
like, so my mom is a crazy person because she has a standard 7 but has a beautiful mind when it comes to numbers.
I like that.
It's unbelievable how she can see numbers and how they just make sense to her. And my mom started off really like making jewelry from home and selling it, but she has also definitely got that entrepreneurial spirit. And like just the general rules of how to do things, of like always saving, always make sure you have 6 months put away for a rainy day. Not even like some people have, like, how much generally do we save? So for me, even when I was 16 and I was waitressing, I would take 70% of whatever I made and I put it away, and 30% I would spend. Like, that was a rule like that went on. And through that simple rule, I was able to get my first apartment when I was 22.
Wow.
So, and it's just a saving doctrine of like, just save. And some months it would be great because you'd make more money than other months. But some months I was literally, because I was the student here, and some months I was eating brown bread and butter, but I still saved the 70%. Because that was this thing my mother had drilled into my head. And that's generally what you need to start a business. Capital. People neglect, like, yes, you want to do this, you want to open a nail spa or a spa or something, but everything requires capital. So you have to start saving it. We can't rely on hoping to get a loan. Even if you do get funded, you need to at least provide 20%, 30%, so that they can see that you have a history of saving and you've thought about this. That there's a reason also where you just don't get the whole loan,
Yeah. This is so exciting. I'm really enjoying the conversation.
Are you? Sometimes I feel like, am I going on too much?
No, this has been really good. So I think I want to get into some of the trending topics really quickly. Just 2 or 3 really trending topics that are happening right now. We are going to do that in the next few minutes. So part 1 is done. We are going to get into part 2 in a bit. Welcome back, guys. This is the Generational Wealth Education Podcast. This is part 2, where we are going to be chatting, and we're still chatting to the beautiful Shashi Naidoo, but we are going to be chatting to her about some of the trending topics that are happening on social media right now. We're looking at some of the busiest hashtags and just looking at some of them right now. I'll start off with the first one. And the first one that we are going to look at is Floyd Money Mayweather. Now, Floyd Money
He
Mayweather.
lives in Dubai.
He lives in Dubai. He actually did this really cool fight on the top of the Burj Al Arab, you know, on the
really?
helipad.
Yeah.
He was fighting one of these YouTube stars, well, boxing them in particular.
Oh, wow.
It was
I mean,
insane.
was the YouTube star also a boxer?
No. You know, a
That
lot
would
of these...
seem unfair if he wasn't actually a boxer.
A lot of them do that, though. A lot of them do it for, like, these new charity events that they're hosting. So you'll see, like, a Logan
Listen,
Paul.
what I know of him in Dubai is he is living it up. Obviously, he spent a lot of time in training, or I don't know what, but he is always out in the town in Dubai.
Doing his own thing, hey?
Yeah, he's always out partying. So I feel like he's making up for lost time because, you know, boxers have to be so fit. So now that he's not doing it competitively, he's definitely making up for lost time.
He's
in Dubai.
making a lot of money, though.
Yeah.
Definitely still makes a lot of money. So if someone had to ask you, let's say, for example, they want you to be in a boxing match for charity, would you do it?
I've been asked this before.
Really?
And I said no.
What? For charity?
I am a lover, not a fighter. Like, if you ask me to donate money, I will do that. But I don't see myself aggressively going after someone with my fist. It's just not in my nature. And if someone is coming with me at their fist, I'm going to run. Like, it's just it's just not in my nature. I don't have an aggressive side to me.
I'm curious to know who was the opponent.
So it was a group. So I know Pam Andrews. Do you remember Pam Andrews? She was in backstage with me, and that girl would have messed me up, like really messed me up. There were quite a few celebs, but I remember Pam Andrews and like.
That's crazy because you look at them. A lot of them are doing these boxing matches. It's quite insane.
Nicole Basic did it, but she is just a powerhouse.
Yeah, she's into like fitness and
It's
gym.
like super. I mean, the girl as a warm up does like an hour on the treadmill running. She's just nuts. I mean, someone like that coming for me, what would I do? I would just no.
So if Beyonce had to say, look, we're doing something in Africa.
Oh, okay. Oh, but it's Beyonce.
Would
if
you
it
say
meant I
yes?
got to meet Beyonce.
I mean, you're going to be boxing her.
No, I couldn't ever hit Beyonce. Are you kidding? No.
No, but it's for charity.
I would just let Beyonce beat me to a pulp. I'll be happy. But yes, I get into the ring with her, but I just let her beat me up. I would never be able to touch a hair on Beyonce's head.
We might see Shashi Naidoo versus Beyonce in the near future for charity. Guys, also, I'm looking at another trending topic. It is Manchester United versus Chelsea.
I'm a Man U supporter.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
You know what? I'm not huge into soccer, football, but...
This was going so well, hey? It was such a nice podcast until he said that.
But you know, you go with whoever your dad supports, right? So I think in my dad's time, there was a Man United plane that went down. And then there was a huge sympathy component to why people became Man United supporters. So I've just generationally got that from my dad.
So what if your future husband is a Chelsea fan?
Yeah, then, I mean, I'm not like an ardent, die-hard.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you'll switch?
I'll switch.
Okay, that's
I'm clearly
cool.
not that loyal.
We have one more that's trending right now. I'm just going to go through
Tell me.
So I see a lot of it has to do with soccer, though, but we're going to move away from soccer and talk.
Yeah, I'm not the one for soccer.
Well, everything is actually about soccer. I think let's just look at what's happening in South Africa right now. I think that's quite a nice thing to do. What is currently the most important thing that's happening in South Africa?
Does it have to? Because
doesn't have to be current affairs. I feel like current affairs is very tricky.
But I'm just saying, everyone's talking about this because no one has water right now. I mean, that's really bad. You're sitting in the cold and you got no water. I mean, I don't think it's a good trending, but it's trending. Like, so that flat that I bought when I was 22, that I've moved back into it and I rent out the big house. We have a borehole, which I found out recently. So I'm not affected by the water.
That's crazy. And solar energy as well in South Africa, right? If you're looking at solar energy. That's becoming
really huge. If you want to open a business, go into solar, babies. You're going to make a lot of money.
Do you feel like there's a lot of opportunity from Dubai that, in terms of solar, that can just be plugged into South Africa?
I think whoever has the best technology regarding solar,
yeah,
wherever it comes from, you'll do well.
Are you entering into that space?
No.
No. Okay.
I feel like it's for someone, but not for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're staying with aesthetics and teeth
I'm
whitening.
To what I know and what I enjoy. Like, so when you go into something, you really need to like understand it properly. going in and not knowing what you're doing
That's true.
is
That's
a
true.
mistake. You need to understand it better than anyone else and really have it together. Just jumping into it because you think it's going to be the next big thing, like getting Bitcoin just because everyone else is doing it, then you've already missed the trend, right?
Yeah, that's
so you
true.
need to really understand and learn before you go into a space.
So Sashi, I mean, you beautiful, you smart, you know, well established.
Years are going really. Yeah.
I think the one thing we have to test though is a little bit of your IQ, right?
Oh
So,
God,
guys,
no!
we're gonna
Why would you do this to me?
we're gonna get into part
That's
3.
right. I'm leaving.
It's gonna be fun, I promise you. We're gonna get into part 3 right now, guys, which in a bit actually, we're gonna get into Shashi Naidoo's IQ. We're gonna ask her a few questions and do the Bean Boozle
lovable
challenge.
ditz, so I will just say that up front. I'm a lovable ditz, so it's okay.
You remember the Bean Boozle challenge though, right?
I do remember that.
I mean, we've been
I
doing
don't
this.
remember having my IQ tested. Otherwise, I might have just like missed it.
No, you got this. I feel like you got
Okay.
this. This is a great opportunity for you not to have bad beans. So
Oh, so if I get the question right, then I don't have to eat the bean.
yeah, but if you get it wrong, then you have to eat the bean. So guys, just so
Like
that you
I'm
do
eating a
know,
lot
the
of
Bean
bad
Boozle challenge actually involves these beans in particular. Now these beans they look exactly the same. So you might get a blue bean and it could actually be 2 different flavors, right? So it could actually be something that tastes really nice like blueberry, or it could be something really
Barf.
disgusting
Blueberry
like
or barf,
Yeah,
yeah.
or barf. So you could end up getting throw up or you could end up getting tutti frutti. So it just depends on your luck. But every time you get a
But I
question
say I'm so
wrong,
happy to be here.
it's been good so far, right?
Yes.
Guys, we're going to end part 2. Let's get into part 3 in a bit. Guys, so we're still on the Generational Wealth Education podcast. We just finished up as part 2 where we were looking at a lot of your trending topics. But now we are going to get into part 3, which is the Bean Boozle Challenge. Now with the Bean Boozle Challenge, like we did mention a little bit earlier, you know, if any questions are answered incorrectly, Sashi has to then open up the Bean Boozle box and take out one of these beans. Hopefully they don't taste bad. But if they
How
taste nice,
excited
it's
I look. First, I'm going back to writing exams, and then
you
I'm
got
being punished.
this. You got this. I'm going to bring it closer to you. Easy, 9 questions. That's all that you have to.
9?
Just 9. It's not that many. It's very easy. It's all general knowledge. But a lot of people do end up getting some of it wrong because of, you know, being the anxiety or also like
Just
doing the disclaimer. Are you ready?
Yeah, no, but okay, let's go.
Okay, question number 1 is Larry Page is the CEO of which company?
IBF.
It's actually Google. First one.
Something in that field.
What is it?
Blueberry or toothpaste.
Okay.
That's not so
That's
bad.
not too bad. Should I help you open?
Yeah.
You got it.
Wait. Wait. Oh, so it's a blue one.
A blue one, yeah. You're going for the blue one. I mean, both flavors are not bad.
That's toothpaste.
Yeah, toothpaste, you can still eat it, I guess, and swallow it.
Rather enjoying that.
Okay, question number 2 is, which watch company has a pointed crown as its logo?
Rolex.
Yeah, that's good. Well done. Question number 3 is, which of these games include the phrase, do not pass go, do not collect $200?
Monopoly.
See, it's easy. It's not too bad. Okay, if there are 6 apples and you take away 4, how many do you have?
2.
Answer is 4.
What? If there's 6 apples?
And you take away
Oh,
4.
no, come on. Is this a trick question?
Yeah, you have to go back there. Yeah, these things happen. Sometimes people making these mistakes. Again.
Toothpaste!
You're getting it easy though. I feel like I need to. Toothpaste?
Blueberry.
Blueberry, okay. This has been really
Which is
easy
a weird
so far.
toothpaste you like, it's all mushed in there, you know?
Okay, you good. Do you want to swallow that down first before we get to the next one? I mean,
Keep them coming.
the other questions are not too bad. Okay, the next question is, what gets wetter and wetter the more it dries?
Wetter and wetter the more it dries.
What are you thinking? You got this.
I'm thinking about all the things that can...
Get wetter and wetter the more it dries. I'll have to count you down in the next 5
Okay,
seconds.
wait. Like a tumble dryer unit? No.
I'll give you one more chance.
Okay, give me a clue.
No, there are no clues. You're not allowed clues. And I'm spinning this if you get it wrong.
Like a dog's tongue, like as they get... I don't know.
The answer is actually a towel. A towel gets wetter and wetter the more it dries.
Oh.
Okay, I'll do this one for you. Okay, you got rotten egg or buttered popcorn.
Oh, Jesus.
That's better. That's so much better. You've had it so easy so far.
Is it this guy?
Yeah, it's the one with like yellow speckles on it. It's not going to give you a hint. They smell the same.
Oh,
Rotten egg.
oh God.
You have to swallow it.
Oh.
Oh, man.
Oh my God, that is so vile. Oh.
At least you know how rotten egg tastes.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Some of these.
Oh, I'm gonna actually. That is so awful.
Okay, we have 4 more. You're almost there. Hopefully, you don't get another bad one.
Oh.
Are you good? Okay. Oh. Sorry about that. The next one's easy. You got this. A fashion designer, Gianni Versace, came from which country?
Is it Italy?
That's correct. Next question is, when was the company Nike founded?
When?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So this is a very popular, there's
Nike.
even a book made about it.
1950. Was it older than that?
No.
In the 70s, I know they had huge success. I watched the movie.
It's in the
about-
70s, 1970s.
So, I watched the movie with Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Air. It's called Air or something. What is it? Have you seen it?
Air Jordan. Air Jordan is this brand,
But
right?
the movie.
Yeah.
Unbelievable actors. I would really recommend watching it. Can I just... 1973.
Okay, the answer is 1971.
No, it was on Toothpaste again.
So easy for you.
But do you really want to see me throw up
No,
on
I
your
don't.
podcast?
I just want you to have different flavors, you know. You can't have the same flavor all the time. Okay, that's not bad, right? We can continue. Next question and the last 2 now. What animal is on the Levi's logo? Remember Levi jeans? What animal is on the Levi's logo? That's a tough one. Everyone's just confused right now. It's not a
They have
spider.
an animal on their logo?
Yeah.
Is it a lion?
I'll give you one more chance. So it's not a lion.
A tiger?
No. I'll give you one more. Okay, literally one more chance.
Is it in the
No,
feline?
I can't
Is it
give you
in the
more than that.
feline?
I can't give you more than that.
Well, it's definitely not a puma.
So good at this. Eliminating animals as you go.
Well, puma would, I mean,
Yeah, the puma.
Okay.
Puma, yeah, makes sense.
I'm thinking it's feline. I mean, or is it a bear?
Okay, it's not a bear. It's actually a horse. Yeah. Okay, you got juicy, pear, or booger. So, guys, just so you know, a booger is actually, how do we describe a booger? Is a booger just a
It
booger?
tastes like snot. Like,
Yeah, it's not. Juicy pear. Maybe you're lucky. Booger.
it just tastes like
Yeah,
celery.
that's definitely booger.
Okay,
Does it have like a bitter taste to it?
it's not fun.
I'm sorry. You had rotten egg, you had booger. Okay.
Amazing. Can I come back again? when, please.
Last question, very easy. I know you got this. What is the tallest building in the world?
The Burj Khalifa.
Well done.
Woo!
That wasn't bad, eh? Well
So
done.
do you know that it was called the Burj Dubai?
Really?
And when Dubai went through one of the massive financial crisis, the Sheikh Khalifa from Abu Dhabi bailed them out. And as a gift, they called it the Burj Khalifa.
Wow. Guys, so if you didn't know that, you definitely know that now. A lot of education in this podcast. But Shashi, before we let you go, I mean, it's been an incredible podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. Words of wisdom for people out there in this beautiful world that we're living in. Besides, stay kind, humble, and grateful.
I think we hear these things often, but if I could just reiterate, Don't compare your story to anybody else's. Don't compare your success to anyone else, especially with the constant barrage of like information and what we see of people living these crazy, beautiful lives of success. You don't know what is actually going on. And the real people who are actually a success are busy hustling and grinding and not posting every second of everything they do on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I know it can be deflating sometimes. You can feel like you know what you're doing is for nothing, but just keep at it, and don't compare yourself to anyone else. Your journey is your own. And yeah, keep focused.
I love that. Guys, don't compare yourself. Thank you so much for watching the podcast. Make sure that you do let us know what do you think of the podcast in the comment section, or also on all of our social media platforms as well. But guys, on behalf of Shashi and myself, it's been an absolute honor and a privilege. Stay kind, humble, and grateful.